We are working on water today, and some really interesting things came up in the questions you guys want me to focus on. I will focus on structured water a little bit, but I really want to focus more on this whole receiving beneficial things, receiving what I want, receiving what I need, and looking at it from the perspective of water. So, water is such a huge topic, at least in my world, that it's worthy of a whole second session to address the whole structured energy piece in a more detailed way. So I'm really only going to touch on it a little bit today, and then after this series is done, um, I will do more water when it gets to the point where I've got a subscription thing doing. But I really want to spend a lot of time with this whole receiving and getting benefit. So I am going to see if me switching to speaker means that the recording doesn't have all of you guys quite so much in it. I'm just experimenting with this. So, water. What is the most important thing to cover first is, of course, how important water is. And we all know we're supposed to drink water, and most people realize that they probably don't drink enough. I am not going to go into a whole bunch of detail about that because you already know it. But if you watched my Thursday Tips for Thriving video yesterday on the Thrive with Sandra Lee channel, in Thrive with Sandra Lee group, I talked about my personal story associated with realizing that I was dehydrated, even though I thought I was doing a good job of getting enough water. And thinking about how the signals that I receive that I need more water are insufficient to have me actually be fully hydrated. So it winds up being possibly more water than you think you need that you really would benefit from getting. So, um, and it's also coming up to put in this part about salt. For those of you who don't know, when you drink a lot of water, it's also important to make sure you get enough salt. Salt provides electrolytes that enable the water to get into your cells. And if you drink plenty of water but don't get enough salt or don't get enough electrolytes, it's like pouring water onto a dry plant. If you pour water on a dry plant, the water all comes right back out. So it's important to have the minerals so that the water gets to where it needs to be, which is inside the cells.
Can I ask a question, Sandra?
Yes.
So is salt the only way to get electrolytes?
No, but it's the easiest, in my opinion. So you
Well,
get
I'm just not eating salt right now, so I'm wondering what other ways I can do it.
yeah. So um, salt is another one of those topics that is like a two session topic. Um, so yes, you get electrolytes and minerals in vegetables and foods, and animal foods in particular have good salt. Um, but in my opinion, for most people, it's not enough. So it would be interesting to know, not necessarily today, but at some point, what the reason is why you're not eating salt.
Because I'm on prednisone and it makes me retain water.
Hmm. So, what kind of salt is it that you're getting that has you retain water?
I usually use Himalayan sea salt.
Okay. So, um, I don't know. It's better to say I don't know if I don't know. I don't know about the prednisone to salt thing. I just know that most people are deficient, and you might want to try a different salt and see if it makes a difference. So it could be that there is one mineral that you are deficient in that you're not getting in the Himalayan salt. Um, I'm just guessing here, so I don't know about the whole thing with prednisone. So if that is something that you are taking on an ongoing basis, is this short term or is this consistent?
Well, hopefully it's short term.
Okay, good. Well, so maybe that will resolve itself over time when you take care of that. But if I mean, I would say this is me, like not diagnosing, by the way. I can't diagnose or prescribe, you know that. I can't treat anything. But in my opinion, electrolyte imbalance and not getting enough minerals for most people is more a cause of the problem. So it could be part of why you need the prednisone in the first place. I don't know that much about prednisone and what it does. But so, there's a whole lot more to that topic. So if you get, a wide variety of foods, you're going to get a wide variety of minerals if you eat a variety of plant foods. And animal foods are going to have a more balanced mineral profile than vegetables will. And here's why. So it's like if we look at sea salt, which is where really all salt comes from, it comes from the ocean. Sea salt and blood are the closest in constituency. The makeup of blood is like seawater with a bunch of extra stuff in it. That's the way I describe it. So all of the minerals in the ocean, we need them because that's what goes into our blood, and our bodies use those minerals to help enzymatic reactions to be able to occur. So if I am deficient in, significantly deficient in even one of the important minerals, that can cause a whole range of different imbalances depending on what the mineral is. So that's why I recommend that people use Celtic salt, which is harvested from the ocean. It's just seawater dried, basically. And then they collect it up, and it's not white, it's gray. The difference between Himalayan salt, which is dry, it's mined from the mountains, and Celtic salt that's got all the minerals of the ocean in it, is that dry salt, in my opinion, is dead. And some of the minerals also evaporate off. So I don't buy Himalayan salt. I always buy Celtic salt. And if there is Himalayan salt, in use where I am, then I might use that. But the salt that I buy and I actually use all the time is Celtic salt because it's got all the minerals of the ocean in it and it's moist. So that when salt is moist, it's alive. It's got more life in it. So it might be interesting to experiment and see if switching to a different salt might get you a different result. So going back to what I was talking about, when I drink water and I don't have enough electrolytes, it's like pouring water on a dry plant and it just goes right out. When I have enough minerals, it's like the minerals are inside the cells and it pulls the water in. And here's the story I tell about this all the time. One of my clients was drinking coffee and soda and not drinking water. And I got her off of those, and then I got her drinking water. And then I got her started to using the whole salt. And she was good about it mostly. And then when she forgot, she could tell she wasn't getting her salt. When she was always drinking the same amount of water. She was always good on the water. But when she wasn't drinking the salt, she peed more. And so that was her indicator that she had been not getting enough salt and to start taking it again, and then it would balance itself back out again. So that's that pouring the water on the dry plant kind of thing. It just goes right back out. So if you have this whole issue with, I don't like drinking too much water because I pee all the time, it could be that it's a deficiency, an insufficiency in the amount of salt that you're taking in. So when you don't have enough water, Where does your body take it from? Because your brain absolutely has to have the amount of water that it needs. If it doesn't, your brain won't work properly. So your body prioritizes your brain function when you get dehydrated. And from the body's perspective, it expects that this dehydration state is going to be a short-term situation, and pulling water from other places won't be necessary over the long term. Unfortunately, given the life that we lead, right, for a lot of people, dehydration is a continuous state. And getting people so that they're aware of that and then being able to address it saves your health. So where does your body take the water from if you're dehydrated? One place it takes it from is it takes it from your joints. And it takes it from the discs in your back. So let's talk about a disc. I think of a disc as being like a jelly donut, right? And you have this fibrous outside and then jelly on the inside. Massive simplification, but basically there's more water on the inside of the disc than on the outside of the disc. And that's what enables this jelly donut to be able to sit between two hard vertebrae and allow rotation of the bones and side bending. All these things that we expect our backs to be able to do is dependent on this disc staying nice and plump. And if I am dehydrated, my body doesn't put as much water into that disc. Again, expecting it to be a short-term condition as opposed to an ongoing state. So how many people out there have disc issues, back issues? Part of that can be because they're dehydrated over the course of many years. So that's one area, okay? Another area where your body pulls the water from is from the other joints, okay? Pulls it from your muscles. It pulls it from the joint surfaces. So if I have two bones coming together into a joint, there's cartilage on the ends of the bones. And the cartilage is supposed to be nice and slippery so that when I move these bones, like I need to do all of my joints, they slide across each other. They move easily. And ideally, you also have a joint capsule, right? So you don't have the bones actually touching each other per se, but there's a little bit of a space where there's fluid, synovial fluid inside the joint, okay? And then you have a capsule around it. And when I don't have enough water, some of the synovial fluid dries up because it doesn't get as much water going to it. And then when it's even more, then the cartilage surface of the bone stops getting the amount of water that it needs. And when the cartilage surface doesn't get the water it needs, then that cartilage surface that is supposed to be nice and slippery and wet becomes more dry, less hydrated. Okay? So you have this drier surface that isn't able to glide across the other bone as easily. What happens next? If it's so long term and there's so much wear and tear on this cartilage surface on the bone, what happens is that the cartilage surface starts drying out and then flaking. Like you get little cracks and little pieces of the cartilage surface coming off and even floating in the joint. So you might have heard of people, talking about having, like little calcium deposits floating around in their knees, for example. So it's like you have these two surfaces moving across each other with all this little grit inside there. And that hurts. Part of what's going on is that the cartilage surface that's supposed to stay attached to the bone has cracked, broken off, and you have little pieces floating around in the joint. Okay? When it gets even more of an issue, you've heard of people having bone on bone in their knees or possibly other joints. That's where the cartilage is gone. The synovial fluid isn't really happening there anymore, and you have two bones right against each other, grinding, big time pain. Okay, so you don't want those things. This is basically like arthritis. Arthritis is where you get inflammation. Oh, let's talk about inflammation. So when you have this not being so nice and healthy and smooth, then you get inflammation in there. So it's like you get swelling inside the cartilage and inside the joint, and then things start breaking off. All of that. This all could be helped or decreased if you get enough water. And if you get enough minerals so that your body can put the water where it needs to be. Inside the surface of the cartilage inside your joints, so that they stay nice and smooth and healthy and able to move. Okay? Another place where your body takes the water from when you don't have enough, when you're dehydrated, is it takes it from your pancreas. The pancreas is the organ on the left side of the body, okay, that it does many things, but one of the things it does is it makes bicarbonate solution that neutralizes stomach acid when you eat. When I eat, my stomach makes stomach acid to be able to digest the protein to break the food down, but before it goes from the stomach into the small intestine, the body needs to be able to neutralize that stomach acid, because you don't want this very strong acidic material in the intestines, because then it will cause ulcers. It will eat through the wall of the intestine and causing all sorts of problems. So you don't want that. Your body makes bicarbonate solution so that as the stomach releases the contents into the duodenum, the top part of the small intestine, it gets neutralized by the bicarbonate solution that was made by the pancreas. This is how digestion happens. Okay? Your body needs to have the acidic solution in the stomach to be able to break down the proteins. And then the bicarbonate solution makes it, more pH neutral and maybe alkaline. I tell you the truth, I don't know what the pH in the small intestine is. So it's like, but it's no longer so acidic. Okay, so that your body can utilize, break down, digest all of the other nutrients that are in the food that you consumed. What we're talking about now is dehydration, leading to not enough water going into the pancreas to be able to make the bicarbonate solution. So what happens if you don't have enough bicarbonate solution to neutralize the stomach acid? The stomach says, I can't let this acidic stuff go down into the intestines. That's bad. And the food stays in your stomach longer. What happens when food stays in your stomach too long, longer than it should? Then you can have acid reflux. What's acid reflux? Okay, so here we have a stomach with the top of the stomach, and attached to the top of the stomach, you have the esophagus, the food that I eat food, and it goes down the esophagus into the stomach. Okay, so I have the stomach here, and the esophagus attaches here, and there's a valve that connects the stomach to the esophagus and keeps the stuff in the stomach, the acidic stuff in the stomach, down here, while also letting food come down, go through the valve into the stomach. So if I am dehydrated and I have not enough bicarbonate solution, the food stays in the stomach too long, and what happens is the valve that's between the stomach and the esophagus gets damaged, and you have acidic food popping up and going into the esophagus. That's heartburn. So heartburn is one of the things that can happen when you don't get enough water. Going all the way back to the pancreas, right? If you don't have enough water for the pancreas to make a solution, then you don't let the food out of the stomach soon enough, and then it goes back up into the esophagus. And when you have this acidic mixture going back up into the esophagus, you then get damage to the tissues of the esophagus. You get scar tissue in the esophagus, and you get scar tissue in the valve. And have you ever heard of people who have the valve the joint between the esophagus and the stomach gets narrowed to the point where there's not enough room, it's not big enough hole for the food to actually go down through the esophagus into the stomach. And they have to go in and they, break some of the scar tissue by widening it, basically. So this is a long down the stream effect of not getting enough water. So if your dehydration is so significant that your brain isn't able to function properly, then you can start having problems with mental clarity, all sorts of things can come down the road from that. But that's what happens when you don't get enough water. So those are the basic things that I felt like just needed to be said about water. Now let's talk a little bit about the energy of water. Water has memory. Everything that water is exposed to gets programmed into that water. Water is supposed to come to us after being bubbled down into the earth, trickling down into the earth, and then coming up through a natural spring. That's natural water. And the process of the water falling on the earth, trickling down, cleans the water of all of the memories that have been programmed into it through whatever way it does. And then it bubbles back up into the spring, being spring water. Natural water that's been energized by the earth. Unfortunately, most of us don't really have ready access to truly spring water. So we have developed this process of structuring water using devices or substances that we add to water to give it some of that structure back, to help it to be able to release the programming and the memory that it's picked up over time and give the water some of that energy back as if it had trickled down and come back up through a natural spring. There are a wide variety of structuring methods out there. Personally, I use several of them because I find that each one that I add adds more energetic benefit to my water. But that's a little bit about structured water. Let's talk about water and being able to absorb, receive, benefit, nutrients, information, and water's role in all of that. What happens when water is structured? Structured water has a lower surface tension. What is surface tension? Have you ever seen those water bugs, right? They're on a pond and they just like stand on the water, this light little bug, and you can see the little indentation under each one of the feet, but they don't sink. That's because of the surface tension of the water. There's, I don't know how to describe the science of it, but basically the way the water molecules interact create this tension in the water, and so the bug is able to sit on the water and even move on the water without falling through. Okay, so when I have non-structured water that I drink, I consume, my body has to structure it before it can use the water. That takes energy for my body to be able to do the energetic processes on my water so that that water can actually be absorbed. When I structure my water in whatever way I do it, by the way, part of Caitlin's original question is praying over my water sufficient to structure it? It certainly makes a difference. I don't know how it compares. I haven't done any studies or anything to compare how it, if, using a structuring unit or a structuring technology, if just praying over water, matches it. I don't know. I just know that all of those will help. Okay, so if I have this water that is not structured, that's got this high surface tension, my body has to work, and it takes energy to be able to take the unstructured water molecules and structure that water so that it can be absorbed into my body and used. And it has to do that. So a good source of structured water actually is plants, watery plants. Because just like our bodies, we have to structure the water to be able to use it. Plants, the same thing. To be able to utilize the water to make up their physical tissues, just like us, it needs to be structured. So if you eat a high plant food diet, not necessarily all plant food, I don't believe in that, but if you eat a lot of plant foods, fresh plant foods, as opposed to dried or dehydrated or packaged, right? Living plant foods have a lot of structured water in them, which means when you eat them, you benefit from that structuring, and it's easier for my body to use that water. It doesn't have to work so hard to be able to get that water. However, just eating plants doesn't really provide enough water, so there is the need to then drink water. So what happens when we have the surface tension that is structured so that the body tissue can actually utilize that water? It can absorb it. It can bring it into the cells. It can do whatever it needs to do, including bringing nutrients in, like we were talking about, bringing energy in, bring everything that's beneficial in. Water is going to be an important part of all of that. So having water be structured and energized in such a way that it provides benefit to my body without having to clean it, use energy to be able to prepare it for being able to be in my body. Does anybody have any question about that? Is that clear enough, or do I need to try and explain more? Somebody pipe up.
Clear.
Okay, good. So thinking about not just food and nutrient benefit, but all benefit. Water is in every cell of the body. The body is, 60 to 70%, possibly even more, water. And it's all got this memory, this energy to it. So if what I am attracting to me is energetically consistent, in alignment with who I am, I'm going to be able to receive it. If what is coming to me is energetically discontinuous, not matching the energy that I have over here, then I might have a hard time receiving what's coming in. This is a very interesting thing about, like attraction and, manifesting. If I want something, energetically, I need to be in alignment with it for it to come to me. And I'm going to say that water is a significant factor in all of that. Because water is everywhere, and water is also a significant part of the memory, the programming. I don't know that anybody's actually studied this, but I would bet that our ability to know things, to remember things, to have the brains, all of that is highly dependent on the water. So the energy of my water in my body is going to impact my ability to use my brain, think, figure things out, and attract what I want to attract in my life. So, I think everybody here pays attention to how I feel. Notice when I'm stuck in a not so positive emotional state, and possibly do something to adjust it. Choosing a different perspective, a different thought, so that I can feel more positive about myself, my life, my experience, my relationships, whatever it is. So that when I do that, I am changing the frequency of the water. Looking at the water as being really the central vehicle, the central everything about all of this stuff. It's all water. Water is everything. So, in my posts recently, I was talking about, what do you think? How do you feel? You're programming your water. And how can I consciously choose to program my water in a way that brings me more of what I want? Because that is what attracts what I want to me. And it enables my body to be in alignment with it so that I can actually receive it. So there are people who I know who feel like they never receive love. All they get is rejection, even though people in their life are giving them love, expressing love to them all the time. But because in their minds they're not lovable, it's like they block it out. They are not a match for the love. Love may be being poured on them by the people in life, but they can't receive it because their thought processes are negative and they're holding themselves down and not lovable. So looking at the water as being part of this. Water is the memory vehicle. So when I bring my low state back up, I'm more able to receive what is already coming to me. I think we've all heard that there is an infinite abundance out there, and everything I want is coming to me. I just have to be in the right place to be able to allow myself to receive it. Whew, that feels like a good place to go to tuning. All right, I am going to start with the sacrum, and this is the foundation of everything in the body. Safety, security, stability. Connecting the sacrum to the back. And thinking about what I want, what I care about, what I value. And allowing that to be supported. Allowing myself to feel safe and supported. And there are a lot of people who have had trauma in their lives that affect their feeling of being lovable or not lovable, being able to have what they want or not being able to have what they want. And thinking about, if I have believed those negative things for my whole life, how much water have I programmed with that memory, with that set of beliefs? So when we do biofield tuning, sound is really effective, I think, at programming water, at changing the vibration of the water. Think about how sound waves, you can see sound waves travel through the water. Singing is also wonderful at programming your water. I've never heard that from anybody else, but I'm going to make it up. I think it's true. Music. There we go. Okay. Connecting to the foot. Shoulder. Sacrum and head. Crown. Okay, now I'm going to work with the Earth Star, the point below the feet that connects you to the earth, with the intention of opening up the pathway to abundance, to attraction, to receiving all that you want or need or feel like is right there for you. There we go. Stabilizing the Earth Star. And what comes up is, feeling like I can have some of what I want, but not everything I want. There's some things I feel like I, I deserve or I can have or it's possible. And other things that it's like, maybe I don't believe it's possible. So it's like looking at how is it I'm programming my water? What is it I'm programming with my beliefs in my water about what's possible for me? So bringing the earth energy from the earth star to the feet. And as I do that, as I have this energy at the feet, it's like a lot of times when I see the feet being stuck, I kind of see them as being like stuck in tar, like really stuck down to the ground. But it's like now, as I'm bringing this possibility of attracting what I actually want and being able to do that, it's like looking at unsticking the feet a little bit, like having a little bit more movement, a little bit more freedom to attract the experience that I want. And in my experience, some of the beliefs that we have the hardest time with are associated with health conditions that feel like they are well established. So it's like my ability to believe that I can change this sometimes can be weakest when it comes to things that are in health. So as I say that, there's like this grabbing in my belly, in my stomach. So it's like, ooh, there's some doubt and fear there. And when there's health things going on, it has this potential to go down this catastrophic thought road. This this woo way down the hill. So, bringing the earth energy to the feet with this health issue for anybody and everybody. So it's like, how can I come from a place of believing and attracting what I want associated with my health, my finances, my work, my relationships, my whatever it is, where I might be feeling like I don't believe. So it's coming up to talk about fear a little bit. Fear is important. We need fear. If we didn't have fear, things wouldn't change. But we don't want to get stuck in fear, paralyzed by fear. And fear is, programmed into your body, into your cells through the water. So how can we help any fear that's accumulated in your body with your water? Help that fear to be able to dissipate and see, the word that comes up, to see possibility rather than catastrophe associated with this. There's a lot of catastrophic things going on in the world right now and things being kind of out of control. So how can we have our beliefs and our emotions be in a more creative, positive, empowered place associated with all those things as well? So looking at the things going on in the world right now as having a very restrictive effect on business, livelihood, relationships, medical things, so many things that are being restricted by this. And how can I believe a way that I want to believe so that I can attract more of what I want? Looking at how I am programming my water. So seeing the water being able to flow a little bit more. There we go. Going up to the knees. options and possibilities. Sometimes for me to attract more of what I want, I have to realize I need to switch the track. If I'm going down this track, the tendency is just keep going that same old way. But if I want something different, I have to change the track I'm on, at least some of the time, to have something else be possible. Because if I go down the same path I've always gone down, I'm going to get the same result. So how can I change my thoughts, my emotions, my beliefs, and my water to be consistent with what I want to attract differently? That also brings in the possibility of options, flexibility. When I get used to getting out of my rut and changing, then it's easier to change again the next time and to make another adjustment and to make a plan that's different, right? Find a new possibility. So it's like flowing more like water as opposed to being stuck in a channel. It's like, woo, just having a flow in my path. That helps a lot. That really frees this energy up. So as I bring the earth energy to the root chakra, what comes up is this, like, if I stretch outside of my comfort zone, I'm not sure it's going to be okay. Like sometimes, in order to make something happen, I have to take a step that is a little bit scary, or perhaps a lot scary. And so there's this, oh, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? And again, to be able to adjust it, to take a step that might feel like it's not necessarily safe, and then, flow with it, watch it evolve. That helps. That helps open up the other side. So it was all moving on the right side and not so much on the left side. There we go. Root, much easier. Sacrum. So looking at the things I'm passionate about, I'm excited about, I love, as being so important when it comes to what I want to consciously and intentionally attract. And again, having my water, my belief systems, my emotional system all be in alignment with where I want to go. Sometimes it might feel like that's not where I am, but that's where I want to be. And so I need to be able to put my belief system, my emotions into that different place. Again, being on a different track. Second chakra, lumbar, solar plexus. So some things I want might be impacted by things that are not in my control. And so just understanding that this whole, beliefs, emotions, is like, it's possible sometimes to shift someone who feels like they're like not movable. Maybe I really can actually cause them to shift by working with my beliefs, my thoughts, my energy. Good. Heart chakra. Thinking about, the passion of what I want, what I dream of. How can I put that passion, the feeling, the emotion, into the picture of what it is I want to attract? And believe it. Like really believe it. Because that's when it's really programming my water. When I feel it so intensely, so deeply, so passionately. Ah, there, that helped. And then we get to the high heart, the area between the fourth chakra and the fifth chakra, and angel wings. Not sure if we talked about angel wings last time. So it's like we want a lot of these things sometimes so we can serve others, help others, be of service. For a lot of us, that's what our wants really revolve around. How can I be even better at helping, making a difference in the world, making a difference for the people in my life, or the people I attract in my life? There we go. So allowing that wingspan. There we go. Throat. Being able to express yourself. For me to attract what I want, for me to manifest what I want, I need to be able to express it, which means I need to feel it, know it, believe it enough so that I can express it in a way that that person over there gets it. And that makes it much more likely that it will actually come to me. And again, looking at the role of the programmability of water. How much of my water am I still holding like childhood beliefs and traumas in my water? Oh, let that out of there. I don't want that. That's not helping me. There's a lot in that. So if you feel like there's any water inside you that's holding on to old traumas and belief systems, just imagine that all those little water cells are just able to open up and let all that gunk out and let it go down to the earth so the earth will clean that energy and use it for something positive somewhere else. Woo! Lot of stuff. A lot of energy, a lot of stuff being released. Looks like a waterfall, just this like continuous flow. So imagine any of your water that is holding on to negative memories, negative beliefs, traumatic experiences, doubt, fear. Again, you need to have doubt, fear, anger, anxiety. All these things are important emotions to be able to have, but you don't want to get stuck in them. They are there to help me know when I need to take action, when I need to change something. Without those emotions, I wouldn't change. So, allowing whatever it is that's stuck in these cells to be able to release. There we go. I'm going to take a crystal and use it on this. This is the Lemurian crystal. I might have shown this to you last time. And just to help to crystallize whatever of that negativity, stuckness, trauma, lack of belief in self, lack of belief in your ability to manifest and attract what you want. There we go. So allowing those beliefs and emotions and fears to go down the drain. There we go. Now the earth energy goes out the top of the head. Earth star connected to the earth. Bringing the earth energy through the body and out the top of the head. Lovely. So earth is always here supporting you in your attraction and supporting you in your manifestation. The earth is here 24/7, all the time. You just need to allow yourself to be supported and to receive what the earth is providing. There we go. That's nice. Okay, connecting to the sun star, the point above the head. So this is the God connection. So it's like put out there what I want and allow it to come. There we go. Very nice. So as I hold the sun star at this point, it's like, oh, I don't know if I can ask for that. I don't know if I can expect that. That's beyond me. It's like I don't deserve this. Like, okay. So if you want it, anything you can think of is possible. Anything you can conceive of is possible. You have to believe it and be open to it coming. That triggered some things. Listen to that fork. I was like, ah! It's hard to breathe. Grabbing in my solar plexus and stomach. So if there's any part of you that doesn't believe that you can have what you want, and again, focusing on your water. You can say that the water is the point of attraction. Never heard anybody say that before, but it makes sense to me. There we go. Allowing the attraction in. Allowing what you want to come to you. All sorts of clumsiness around striking the forks associated with this issue. Very interesting. Bring the energy to the heart. Knowing that really you attract based on who you are. Who is the real you? There we go. That helped a lot. Sacrum. Get to passions. Right? What are you passionate about? What do you really want? What does that life look like? Imagine yourself living that life with the health, with the abundance, with the relationship, with the occupation, whatever it is. Imagine it and put passion into it. Really feel it like it's real. There we go. It's coming up about the health stuff again. We've all heard stories of the people who were told, put your affairs in order. You've got a month or whatever to live. And they pull it all through. They transform their life experience and they are still alive and kicking 20 years later. Health can be shifted. Physical form. There we go. Ooh, listen to that. Somebody didn't like me saying that. I was like, ah! There we go. So it's like when I said somebody didn't like me saying that, right? I heard a parent voice, you can't have that, right? So I was like, you don't have to listen to that. That old message in your head is not true. It's not true. Parent might have said it ages ago, but you don't have to continue believing it. Let that old memory out of there. Let it out of your water. Reprogram your water to erase that. Woo! And to see a big eraser coming in. Erasing it. There we go. Feels, so much better. Okay. To the knees, the feet, earth. Okay, so bring energy of the sun through your body and connecting to the earth, and God through your body and connecting to earth. All of the things that are alive in the world, it's all distillations of sun energy, distillations of God energy. So allow yourself to be open to receive that flow. And look at it flowing like water. For me to be able to receive, I need to be in the flow, receiving and giving, receiving and giving. There we go. Lovely. Okay, figure eights, bring all of your energy together. Connecting your will to divine will. And surrounding you with a rainbow, which is basically water and light. All right. Take us to the minute on the hour. If anybody needs to leave, I totally understand. And if anybody wants to stay and comment, you are welcome to do so.
Thank you so very much. That was awesome. I truly believe that we are the physical glass that holds the water, since our body is, I don't remember the exact, it's not 98% water, but I know we hold a lot of water. So we could all definitely use most of that water. Thank you.
Yes. You're welcome, Trina. Trina, how do you say your name?
It's Trina, but does have that extra I in there.
Thank you,
So
Trina.
it's just Trina.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
That was fabulous, Sandra. Thank you. I loved reconnecting with the notion of, I'm very into restructured water myself, but I loved the deeper kind of connection to how that's really affecting everything in our experience. I just was always thinking of it as just a generally good thing for the body, because the body needs good water. But I really liked how you tied everything together. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome. So you guys' questions were the drivers of that. The same thing with last time. So thank you guys for having amazing questions.
Cool.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Sandra. That was really amazing. Really good stuff. Thanks for going super deep. So
You're welcome.
really
Jan. You're
appreciate
good
it.
at that, going deep.
And thank you, everyone. It was really, it was powerful. So thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Love and appreciation.
Yes.
Spot on, Sandra. That was exactly what we needed today. It's been foggy and drizzly here, and water is the carrier of the message
Yes.
from the sun. So that is the key to everything. You know, Emoto's work proved that, and a lot of other studies have been done, but you put it together in a brilliant way. So
Thank you. It really helped that you mentioned the health issue that had come up. So that had me bring that in. I don't know if I would have otherwise. So that was good.
well, thank you. And Jim thanks you, because everything I learn, of course, helps him.
Absolutely. Thank you, Catherine.
These classes are awesome. I just think they're brilliant.
Thank you. And again, whatever feedback and suggestions you guys have, I'm just like incorporating it as quickly as I can. So you guys are helping me turn this into a program that people will want. I wasn't sure. So now I'm getting pretty confident. This, like, yeah, this is a good thing. This format because I'm making it up, right? So thank you.
Yeah, I'm contributing more energetically right now than physically. You know, I don't have time to write and all that stuff, but I think you're getting the messages from me. Thank you.
You are very welcome. All
I
right.
love also how you said how to release the thought of the memory in the water. I do a lot of intention speaking into my water, but I never thought about releasing the memory of the water that I hold within my physical body. So that will go really deep for me on uncovering my next layer. So I thank you very much.
Yay. Thank you. Okay, any last burning things you want to say? All right. Thank you, everybody. We are talking about inflammation next time, which is a really big topic, huge topic, and it's part of the whole water conversation. So we will do that next time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.